What's going on, guys? Romer the Romer here. Today, I have Paul. Paul has sold over $1 million drop shipping. This guy's legit. I met him at the Dropshipping Mansion here in Miami. I call it the Dropshipping Mansion. It's not actually called that. And that was about 2 months ago. And this guy, he's very articulate. He's well-spoken, and he's legit. He's actually doing this. He's living in his van, traveling the country. Right now, it's coronavirus season, so he's actually locked down. But he's got a business model that's able to make him money even during times like this. So without further ado, welcome, Paul.
Look, grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. All things considered, I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Pretty good. So I just told him that you live in your van traveling the country, but you want to tell him what's going on now?
Yeah. So it's crazy. So I used to live in New York City, and I was an attorney there, and it wasn't for me. So I started looking for ways to make money online. Eventually found this thing called eBay dropshipping, and then I started making more money with dropshipping than it was as an attorney. So then I left that job. We moved to Florida, and then we said, you know what, screw this. Like, we can be totally location independent. So we jumped in the van. It's like a pretty nice van. So it's not like we're slumming it. It's like beds. You saw it. It's like beds, shower in there, bathroom,
it's
kitchen.
a pimped out.
So it's really
van.
nice.
It's super nice. Nicer than my apartment.
And well, I don't know. You got a pretty nice view, but we
Well,
like it.
You can have whatever
having the time of our lives.
Is there a lag?
That is true. No.
Okay, cool. Wasn't sure.
Oh wait, maybe now I lost you.
Can you hear me still?
I can't see you now. I can hear you. I can't see you though.
That's weird. I'll come back. We'll extract this audio for a podcast anyway, so it's cool.
But yeah, you're right. I can get any view I want. So we were like out in New Mexico and Arizona, like beautiful. Like we found this place called Las Vegas, New Mexico. Yeah. And you pull off on the side of the road, you go down this little like embankment, and there are these natural hot springs there, completely free. You just jump in there. It's incredible. It's like this little like local secret that we
It's
kind of
called
found.
Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yeah. So not the Las Vegas everyone knows about. It's another one. So I just gave away the big secret, but it was pretty nice. And we were having the time of our lives, and then the world just kind of flipped upside down, and we're like, we should hunker down somewhere. So we went to a family member's house here in Colorado, and just been here for like 3-4 weeks now, just trying to stay safe and do our part, social distancing. So that's where we're at.
You're doing it right in terms of not only social distancing in your van, because I saw your van. Your van's very nice. Like you have air conditioning even when the van's turned off. You have heat. It's well insulated. You have like a bathroom, the same Corolla. So I was traveling the country, living in my Toyota Corolla. I had the same scenery as you. I didn't know about Las Vegas, New Mexico, but I had my hot springs that I would go to, and that's it. That's the beauty of it, just being able to go wherever you want, whenever you want. And I didn't care that I was living in my car. Like I was honestly happy. But when I was actually in Las Vegas, like Nevada, that was the first time where I was like, Jesus, it is so hot. Because I got there and it was 100 degrees, and I was sleeping in my car outside of the salt. This is back when I was really bad at salt. For those of you that follow me now, you guys see me salt a lot. I used to be really bad, and that was like the first car. And I slept with the car on the AC, and I was just like, I might die from carbon monoxide poisoning. So I'm super envious. Of this. And my business model, like going in thrift stores and scanning the book. I learned so much over the last couple of years of how to sell books, but your business model doesn't require any physical products in your hands. Your business model, you can probably explain this better than I can, but drop shipping, you're taking something from you're taking a product from a distributor or wholesale, connecting it to the middle. It goes from the distributor directly to the customer. So you could do this wherever. You don't need to actually hold the product.
Yeah. There's
It's
that's
a model.
the general model. General model is, yeah. The general model is that you don't hold any stock, any inventory. You just sell it, and then the supplier ships to the customer. Now there are like so many variations of it. Just like you could say you do Amazon FBA. That's like such a broad, or you sell on Amazon even. That's like such a broad term, right? You can do books on Amazon. You could do merchant fulfilled, FBA, right? You could do Kindle, like so many different things. Same thing with drop shipping. There's so many different ways to do it. The models that I like and that I teach are selling on eBay or Amazon, and you're using other retail websites as suppliers. That way you don't have to worry about trying to build up these relationships with different distributors and suppliers, which can sometimes be really hard to do. A lot of times they give special rates to some people and not other people. So you don't even know why you're not being successful, and that's why. But with the retail, it's a lot simpler. You can just go in, buy the item from Walmart, and ship it right to the customer.
Gotcha. And this is all legal.
Yeah. Yes, legal. Yeah, drop shipping has been around for a long time, well before the internet even was around. So like you used to get catalogs in the mail. I remember every Christmas we would get this thick catalog in the mail, and it would just be full of toys or different things. And we would go through and circle all the things that we would want for Christmas. Yeah, my family's Jewish, but we celebrated Christmas anyway. I'm not sure why that was. So we would circle all the things, and by the end of it, like everything was circled in the magazine. But the point is that magazine company, they didn't own those products. If you ordered from the magazine company, the products would be shipped from somewhere else. And it's the same thing with dropshipping. It's been around for a long time.
Gotcha. What's the most you've made in a single month?
The most I've sold was $250,000. It wasn't quite $250,000. It was over 200,000. I'm trying to remember. This was at one Christmas, and I think it was like 220 that I sold. And you're looking at like 10 to 15% profit margins. That month was, probably closer to like the 11 or like 12% margin. When you get the higher volume, your margins kind of come down, but it doesn't matter because you're selling such a high volume. So yeah, that's the best month we've had.
Nice. So that's over, what is that? That's over 40,000.
Yeah, it was a really good month.
Was that kind of like a breakthrough for you when that happened? Were you just like, oh shit? Or did you already know how big you could get?
No, that was, it was expected because we were growing at a rate where we saw it coming. So it was kind of just, we know this is going to happen. So it was definitely exciting.
What's the growth pattern look like for drop shipping? Like, do most people see like exponential growth at the beginning and then it kind of plateaus? Is it linear? Does it always go up? What's generally the growth pattern for this business model?
So what we've seen is that in the beginning, it is exponential. But that means that in the beginning, when you're starting from nothing, it feels very slow, the growth. That's just the way exponential growth happens. And then you hit this like critical point where things kind of really feel like they're taking off. So that's like usually like a few months into it. But we do see most sellers plateau. And we just kind of see things level off, and which is I've been okay with. I don't know, maybe that's just me because I've focused my attention on other things like coaching other students, or helping students, and like YouTube videos. I'm sure if I put more time into it, I could get more growth out of it. But I'm happy where things are and kind of keeping them where they are. I have a team of virtual assistants that help. We just kind of got it down to clockwork, and I'm kind of just happy with that. So theoretically, if
your virtual assistant, I know you're probably not this stupid to let your virtual assistant have your credit card, your bank account information, but let's say they just took everything from you. And this isn't saying you should have a virtual assistant. I have tons of virtual assistants, but this is just saying this is a example, a play scenario. They take everything from you. Your bank account's wiped out. Your van blows up and you forget everything about drop shipping. But right now you can write down, let's say 3 things that you should do starting out. Like, and you have to tell yourself this, and you're going to go back in time or in the future rather, and you're going to, all this stuff's going to happen. You're going to be broke, dead broke. You're going to forget everything about drop shipping. What 3 things would you write right now? So in the future, you'll be good. And like, this is like, you're talking to yourself here and you've got to make sure that you make it.
So this is to make sure I'm good at drop shipping again in the future?
Just to make money, like in your first month. Like you have to, like getting a job's not an option. Like you have to make a drop shipping.
It's not an option.
Yeah.
So the first thing
you got to live in a Toyota Corolla too.
The first thing I would write down, it's a Toyota Corolla. Wow. Okay. I'm thinking like maybe at least you have like an SUV or something, like a bigger
black
one.
2005 Toyota Corolla, no air conditioning.
Jeez. So the first thing I would write down is like how I don't know how much I could write down, but I would write down how I do my.
You can write down as
research.
much as you want, but it's got to be 3 like main three action steps.
Okay.
And under each action step, you can elaborate as much as you want.
Okay. So the first thing I would write down is how I do my product research, because that was really like critical for me. Basically, in a nutshell, like the way it works is before when I first started, I was just taking anything and listing it up for sale and hoping it would sell. And that just wasn't working. So what I found is that you can go on eBay and eBay will show you what items are selling well. And you can go in, see other drop shippers, see what they're selling, and you can sell those same items.
How do you know they're drop shippers?
So you can look at so it's kind of like so this is what you do. You go into like Walmart and you like copy down the title of like any random item, copy it, search for it on eBay. Chances are most of the people that are selling that same item are drop shipping it. And then you like open up the listing, compare it against the listing on Walmart, and you can see, okay, it's same titles, same description.
Gotcha.
It's higher in price because it has to be higher in order for you to make a profit on eBay. Drop shipper.
Gotcha.
So then you see what they're selling and you sell the same items. And that's basically like the product research. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is like hire a virtual assistant earlier than you think, because that just helps so much. You can have them list every single day, and that will help your store grow. I mean, nothing will help your store grow except listing. And the only way to be consistent with it is to have someone consistently doing it every day. So a VA has been really critical for that. And the third thing I would say is more about mindset. And this is kind of like a little bit more like intangible, like hard for me to describe, because this is something that I'm still figuring out myself, like the whole mindset around money and wealth and how that plays into success. But I think I would write down like, look, dude, you are no different than the people that have been incredibly successful. So look at like all the most like crazy successful people that we think of. Maybe like Elon Musk is a little bit weird and out there. Like no one's like him, but like you look at like Grant Cardone, you look at like all these people making a lot of money. There's really no difference. Bezos might be a little bit an alien too. But like, you look at us and them, we're all like flesh and blood, right? We're all just people. The only thing that separates those really successful people from the people that aren't, is that the really successful people are so crazy and believe in themselves so much that they're going to be successful that they keep pushing and keep going, even when they're not successful, until they see success. And I would write that down to myself and I'd say, look, you've been really successful with eBay dropshipping. You might have forgotten it all now, but you've done it before, which means you can do it again. There's really no difference between yourself now just because you forgot all that. So that's kind of the other thing I would say.
Yeah. Have you read the book Release Your Brakes?
I have not. No.
You should check that one out.
What is it?
Yeah. Do you know who Dan Pena is?
Kind of sounds familiar, but no.
Okay, so the name of the book is Release Your Brakes, and let me see what it's by real quick.
Got it.
I can.
I'll look it up on.
Dan Pena recommended it. Dan Pena, he calls himself the $1 trillion man, but he's generated several, I think, billionaires.
Wow.
He's definitely generated several millionaire students. I don't know about billionaire students, but certainly millionaire students. But he only recommends 5 books. He thinks reading books is like a waste of time, and because people read books too much, listen to too many podcasts, and they don't actually take action. This is about taking action. Yep. Taking action. That's his whole philosophy. Think and Grow Rich is one of the books he recommends, but Release Your Brakes, which is not very popular. And I know it's not super popular because I've looked at the Keep a Graph, which is a graph on Amazon that tells you how often it sells, and it doesn't sell a whole lot. But it's I'm going through that book now, and it was talking about what you were just talking about, like everybody's. And Charles Darwin says the same thing. He thinks all men are there's some men that are way smarter than others, and there's some men that are way stupider than others on the IQ scale or whatever. But generally speaking, he thinks most men are created equal intellectually, and some just the ambition and the belief they have in themselves and the success that they have, which having success is going to determine your future success because you believe in yourself. You've sold 250,000 or 240,000, whatever it was in that 1 month. Like, you can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not far out there for you, but maybe 2.5 million or 250 million. Maybe you might have to do some convincing with yourself. Maybe there's some breaks that you have, emotional breaks, emotional baggage, whatever it is. But he talks potential, and the potential's here. But your reality and how you feel about yourself, what your emotional state is, it might be down here. So like your potential, all the skills you have. You've probably seen this a lot with your students because you have a course where you teach people how to do this. You've probably seen, like, you've literally given like a really smart person all the tools he needs. He understands it. He's gone through the course twice. He's got the potential, but for whatever reason, maybe he's never experienced past business success. Maybe he's got a bad association with money, whatever it is. He's just not taking the action. And so there's that gap. And I think to an extent, there's always going to be that gap with everything in our lives. Like, we're always going to have our potentials here. What we think we can do is here, but until we prove it to ourselves, we can't get up there. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. And that's something I've been thinking a lot about recently. Along that lines, I'm reading a book right now. Somebody recommended and kind of like said I have to read it. It's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. And when they told me about it, I kind of rolled my eyes because I was like, oh, this is like some like self-affirmation BS that I'm not interested in. But I really it was somebody I really trust that recommended it to me. So I really I'm reading it, I'm trying it, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing affirmations, even though I've never done that in the past. And I see them helping. And affirmations, I mean, I think there's several reasons why I think they're working. And I think part of it is now that you've said it, I didn't even realize it, but now that you said it, it kind of makes sense. Like, if your potential is up here, but your self-confidence is down here, well, that's the shame, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not tricking yourself by doing self-affirmations. It's not like you're lying to anyone. You're just bringing yourself up to where your potential is. You're boosting up your confidence to where it should be, right? Yeah. It's not like you're BSing anything there.
Is there anything in your life, like any experience you've had, because you say this with conviction, that I can tell that you have more potential. Was there somewhere in your life where you're just you did it and you couldn't believe that you actually accomplished it, whether it was making a lot of money for the first time, whether it was traveling, whatever? I don't know what it is for you. I know what it is for me, but do you have an example like that in your life where you're just holy shit, never thought I could have done this and I did it?
Yeah, I have a few of those. The one that stands out for me is, high school, I was a pretty average student. My grades were good, but not great. I was good at music. I was in all the musicals, and I was the lead singer in the musicals and stuff like that. But academically, nothing special. Same thing in college. And then when I went to law school, I kind of said like, I want to be like amazing. I want to do really well in law school. And I like worked super hard for those 3 years. I graduated #1 in my class because they rank you in law school. And like looking back on that, I was like, I never would have seen that potential beforehand. I think if you had asked me like in college, would I do well in law school? I'd say, yeah, I think I'd do well in law school. But if you had asked me if I'd be like #1 in my class, no, never would have believed it. But I was, and it kind of like came out of nowhere for me.
Gotcha.
But I put in the work. It was a lot of hard work I put in. But I think that really showed like how much potential there is in someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was your experience like that?
I've had quite a few. One of the biggest ones is like, I wrestled. And so every time I beat an opponent that was better than me, even after I beat him, I'd be like, oh, he's still better than me. Like he's more talented than me. I just, whatever, like not even got lucky, but that was my match. But after it would happen time and time again, I start believing it. Like I stretch my comfort zone. I stretch my reality. That's what this book talks about. Like your reality and your comfort zone, what's real to you, what you're emotionally comfortable with accomplishing, what lines up with your reality structure, how good you think you are. But something strange happened where I would get second place a lot at tournaments, especially when I got second place, early in high school, I was like, oh, I got second place. Like I did pretty well at that tournament, but then it kept happening and I would lose to like kids who weren't as good as me. And then I'd meet them like at a later match, like a dual meet or something, I'd whip their ass. And I was like, what's going on here? And that haunted me for a while. And unfortunately, I never really got over that. I graduated college a year early and I redshirted my freshman year. So I only got to wrestle 2 years in college. I beat a really good kid in college. And that was probably like my biggest like emotional stretching moment. But that's actually one of my biggest regrets is not wrestling longer. And like, I'm looking at the things I'm doing now. Like I've networked to the point where I'm living with Raiken. He's over here like doing some salsa footwork. I'm just talking about you and I'm looking at you doing salsa footwork. Yeah. He's over here doing it. It's funny. But I regret not network. Like I'm doing all the right things now. You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Like I'm doing these things and it's not really hard. It's not really like grinding. It's not really like doing a bunch of push-ups to like get results, but it's doing like I met you. It's like, It's building your network. It's consuming the right information, finding the right mentors, doing all these things. And I'm doing them now. And I look back when I was wrestling and yes, I assumed responsibility for all my actions. I knew everything that manifested on the mat was because of the work I put in previously. But I didn't like really surround myself with the best mentors. That's a weird word to use for wrestling, but like the best teammates, even teams. Like I didn't really consider it too much. I was just like, I just got to work harder. That's it. I just got to work hard and I'll make it work. And so I wish I would have used what I know now as far as like getting mentors, expanding my network, just being smart about things. Like it's not just all hard work. A lot of it comes down to like the knowledge and really like stretching your comfort zone in ways that aren't just like grinding. So
yeah, but you can't be hard on yourself about that because like no one teaches this to kids. Like I didn't know like this is I feel my mind like expanding and opening up, but it's just like it was self-exploration. I had to come to this on my own when I was ready for it, and because no one teaches it. No one's going to show it to you when you're young.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I think it's just because people just don't know it.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like,
most people
like malevolent. I don't think the schools are trying to hide anything from us or our parents or whoever. I think it's just they don't know it. They don't feel it. Maybe they've heard it, but they haven't experienced it, so they don't really believe it, so they won't teach it.
Yeah.
What's a common myth about dropshipping, and can you debunk it?
Yeah, so I think a common myth about dropshipping is that it doesn't add any value to the platforms or to the economy. And I can understand why people would think that. We're kind of just like this middleman here. And like, why wouldn't someone just go shop on Walmart instead of eBay? And aren't we just kind of tricking them? And I've thought a lot about this because I try to always do everything I do with business and try to approach it in a moral way. But what I've discovered is that there are people on eBay who only shop on eBay. There are people on Amazon who only shop on Amazon. And so we are connecting the products that would not be available to them, products that are on Walmart and Home Depot. We're connecting those products with those people. So that's the value that we're adding. We also are able a lot of times to get, because we understand how like these other websites work so well, we're able to sometimes get really good deals on the items, and then we could pass those on to our customers on like eBay. So that's the value that we add. I do think that there is a need for that, and that there is value there.
Yeah, we experience the same thing with reselling, kind of the same hate. But yeah, there's value for reselling too, because you're taking a product on a shelf and you're reselling it to someone who's really interested in that. You're making money for yourself, which has value for the economy. You're making money for the store you initially buy it from, and you're also making money for the platform you sell it on. And you're giving the book to the customer who wants it. So if it's a really rare book and there's only a few copies of it, you found it, and now you get rewarded for it. Yeah,
exactly. And any virtual assistants you hire or any employees, I mean, you're giving them jobs too.
Yeah. What's the most common reason for people failing or giving up at dropshipping?
Yeah, so I think this relates back to what I mentioned before, how in the beginning, it can feel like the growth is slow. And that's just because of the nature of it. I mean, you're not going to suddenly have $100,000 in sales your second month. It's just not going to happen. The growth at the beginning is slow, but then it takes off. I think most people give up way before they see that success, or right before they see that the success they're looking for. And there's this chart in this that what's the book I like? So I think Steve was just reading it. It's the Habit book, Atomic Habits.
Okay.
And in that book, he has a chart that I really like, and it shows like when you start a new habit, what your feelings are. So in the beginning, you're really excited. So like you're up here, right? You're really excited to try this new habit. And then all of a sudden you realize, okay, it's getting the same thing every single day. It's getting boring. And then you hit what's called I think he calls that like the valley of despair, where it's just like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for like 3 weeks and like I'm not seeing any results. Let's say it's like exercise. But then most people give up in that valley of despair, but that's right before things take off. And that's when people see the results all the work that they put in. But everyone's quitting down here. Again, if you ruthlessly believe that you're going to be successful, that's when you push through that valley of despair and ride the wave up, the curve up, and see the success. So I think that's why a lot of people who try anything don't see success with it.
So I guess, I don't know if logistically is the right word, but like what is actually happening to generate that revenue in drop shipping to where that growth really spikes? Is it you've seen so many different products and you've created listings that actually are generating sales, or is it the existing listings you have? Do they somehow gain velocity over time? What is it that makes it take off?
Okay, so it's a few things. So first of all, we've noticed that on all these platforms, well, I'll say on eBay and Amazon, we've noticed that after a few months, it's like they trust you more. And when they trust you more, they start to show your listings to more people. So that definitely helps. We definitely see that on Amazon. And I believe it's happening on eBay as well. But also, it's a matter of just numbers. So if you only have one listing on eBay, that's going to get seen by very few people, unless it's like you're like some rare book or something really rare, right? But for sake of drop shipping, you have one listing, that's not going to get in front of very many people's eyes. The less people that see it, the less people that see your listings, the less people that are going to buy your listings, the less money you're going to make. So the more listings you have that are good listings, the better. So as time goes on, as this, a couple months go on, you're going to add those items, and they're going to start to just grow and grow and grow the number of sales that you get. So that combined with what I mentioned before, and the fact that you're going to get better at product research, better at listing the right items, it all seems to hit like this tipping point at some point where things hockey puck up.
Gotcha. And to circle back to the virtual assistant, you said hire one early on. What task would you have them be doing initially?
Listing products up for sale.
Okay.
So with dropshipping, it's you can do it from a computer. So I'd have them start early and just start adding those products in.
And when you train your virtual assistants, let's say you have to fire one for whatever reason, they always come up with the craziest excuses. Do yours come up with crazy excuses for not working?
Oh, well,
or
no,
like,
I mean,
even if they're pretty good, like at least the ones I've had, it's never just like, hey, I don't feel well. It's always like some crazy shit. Like, hey, there's an earthquake, or the tsunami's coming. I'll be back in 2 days. Or literally one time someone was like, I had a baby yesterday. I should be back tomorrow though. I'm just like, what? Like, you can tell me what's actually going on. Like, if you have a cold, it's fine. Just like.
Well, I mean, the biggest one I get is they just have internet problems. Or there's a typhoon. That's the one I hear the most.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, when I've had to fire VAs, which I hate doing, that's when it gets really tough. I feel like I've never had to fire an employee here in the United States, but I've worked at places. I've seen people get fired, and most people just leave, and that's it. But like the couple that I've fired have kind of like almost like begged for their work back, which makes me feel really terrible. I feel terrible already that I'm firing the person. But one of them I let back, and that was a mistake. I think if you ever fire a VA, or there's a reason you did it, so just don't take them back.
Yeah,
I mean, it's you have to like approach this with a sense of understanding that like this is people's livelihoods, right? So you don't take it lightly hiring a virtual assistant or firing one.
Yeah,
of course, but you're also running a business. You got to keep that in mind. Yeah,
if the business dies, everybody, including yourself, suffers. So it's your job to make sure your business is profitable. So what are you doing to train them? Do you have like a step-by-step document, or how are you?
We have videos. So first few times I recorded videos and made some documents, and then like I lost them. So the second one I had to make for the second VA, I had to do it again, and then I lost those. And so the third VA I did again. So eventually I just made this video library that I give them access to, and has all the training material, and actually give those to my students as well.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that next. So that's all included in the course.
So I have, if you're interested in eBay dropshipping, I have 2 courses. So you get the eBay course, and then when you complete the checkout for that, there's a upsell, basically, if you know what that means, everyone watching. But it's basically like you can sign up for the virtual assistant course for a little bit extra.
It's for all my Amazonians out there. It's when you go to check out something on Amazon, they say other people who bought this item also bought. That's what an upsell is.
Yeah.
So it's a good strategy.
So yeah, so you can it'll teach you how to hire and manage virtual assistants. And I think the most valuable part is it comes with that video training library that you can give your VAs to.
Yeah.
Give it to your VAs.
We're actually selling my manuals separately as an upsell for my course. So I'm selling my course, and my upsell is my manuals. And they're pretty simple. Like I look at them, I'm like, are we really going to charge this much for my manuals? But the amount of time it took me to make them that simple, and how much time they saved me, it's just like, I wish I would have had this from day one. You ever look at something like that you're selling, and you're like, all right, now this looks really simple, but I know it's not as simple as it looks. Like I've even though it's only one page of like, or one document of videos, like you look at the videos, you're like, okay, like that saved me like hundreds of hours, but am I really going to convince someone else that this is this valuable? You know what I mean? Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, not as much as I used to, but I still do. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's because we are kind of experts at what we do. So what we're looking at it and we're saying, oh, this is simple, but it's not simple. I mean,
The
it's not.
testimonials probably help out a lot when people reach back out to you and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like this worked."
Yeah,
That probably kind of changes your reality structure in your head.
yeah, exactly.
What do you think your unique skill is that helped you become successful in dropshipping?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's anything like that. I mean, what I can say is that, and I don't think this is needed to be successful in drop shipping, but it's helped me a lot. The fact that I have a law background, for most of drop shipping, that's irrelevant. But there are other things like becoming sales tax exempt. When I formed my LLC, like all those little things, like all those business things, I should say. Being a lawyer definitely helped a lot with that. And like there are all these different rules that eBay and Amazon come out with, and it could be like dense material reading through that. And I have no issue reading like all that stuff because that's what I did in law school. So it's great that like I can go in and read all that and break it down and then like make a YouTube video or something in my course that says, okay, this is what you need to know about it. And this is the only thing that matters. So maybe that's answering your question. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, that's probably your strength, and that probably opened up a lot of other opportunity. I think that's the way strengths kind of work. Like you focus on your strength, and then it kind of opens everything else up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw you did. You were talking about that $10,000 grant. I made a video just like that. I was scrolling through your YouTube channel. I was like, oh, we made the same video. And did you watch Kevin's video by chance?
Is that the one that you linked to?
Yes, the real estate.
Yeah. Trust me, like if you go through my YouTube history, like I spent so much time trying to understand the Paycheck Protection Program and the EIDL and everything, and reading like all like the actual what's it called? I'm blanking on it. The actual CARES Act, and just trying to figure it all out because there's a lot of things that is not very clear about everything. And I know like a lot of people apply for that $10,000 grant, and I don't know anyone who's actually gotten it yet. Yeah. I know a lot of people are trying to apply for the paycheck protection, and a lot of banks aren't taking it. So it's just like so much confusion out there. So I was trying to understand.
I've heard that 1.3% out of the people that have applied for the Paycheck Protection Program have received it. That was according to Lindio. So if you guys want to apply Lindio for the Paycheck Protection Program, you have to have employees, right? You do have to have employees for that one, or can you
No,
be?
You can be an independent contractor. Yeah.
Okay. For the Paycheck Protection?
Yep.
Okay. I wasn't sure on that one. I knew for the economic injury disaster loan, you could be a sole proprietor. I wasn't sure about the other one, but Lindio is great to apply. It's super. Most of them are. That's the beauty of capitalism. It's like I've applied 3 different places because I knew it was going to be like this. You're not supposed to do that.
No,
so
you're not.
I just put that out there. So they're gonna. I always joke about this because I talk about counterfeit textbooks a lot, and I always joke about how I'm gonna be sitting in court and just gonna have like all these videos of me just like saying different things, and they're like, "Wait, what about this YouTube live you did?" But that's why
I think like
I always say the edgy stuff like 20 or 30 minutes in.
I wouldn't advise anyone to do that, but I think maybe you'll be okay if you just take the first one and deny the other 2, but I'm not sure about that. Just yeah. But I understand why. I'm sure a lot of people have done that because it's just so confusing. And I know people who submitted it and they were like, did it submit? Like,
yeah, well, that was the first, like at the very, because I got in at the very beginning where they just had you upload the documents. They had you pull the documents and upload them to a Dropbox, no confirmation email, no confirmation on the page or anything. And I was just like, I did it twice and I was like, okay, now I just applied twice, I think. But
and then they had you redo the application, right? Because
yes. Yeah,
so
a couple of 3 days later, they were like, "Sorry, if you sent an application, we need you to send another one." But Yeah, for the $10,000 grant, they're saying that you're getting 1,000 for every employee.
Yeah, so they changed that as well. Like it's like, oh
Mhm.
my, so
And
it's
it's
like,
up to I think they always said up to $10,000. But I thought
Yeah.
at one point, maybe super early on, I thought they said you will get 10,000. But
they
maybe
did.
okay.
So,
Wow.
but then I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So these are similar questions, but phrased differently.
Mhm.
How quickly can someone start making a full-time living from drop shipping?
So I generally see people like coming up with those types of numbers, usually closer to the 1 year mark, 8 months to a year. I mean, you'll be able to make well, it also depends on how much your cost of living is, of course. But like for myself, I was making more than I was making at my job within my first year. So maybe like after 10 months. And then I quit basically a year after that. I wanted to make sure I was selling on eBay and Amazon before I quit. So that was me. And generally see the same thing for most people. Like it takes, close to a year to get up to that point. But again, I was living in New York City. For some people, it could be, it wouldn't need that much.
Why did you want to be selling on both? Just to have two separate accounts and two separate sales channels to protect yourself?
Yeah. Wanted to make sure that it was sustainable and that if something happened to one, I would have the other one.
How does that look on the supplier end? So we see the sales end. If Amazon shuts you down, you're out of Amazon sales. If eBay shuts you down, you're out of eBay sales. How does that look? Maybe Walmart is like, no more, you can't buy from us. Is it a similar dynamic, or is there just, do you have so many different sources that you just feel safe on the supplying end of things?
Yeah, I feel safer there. I mean, we pretty much use, like at this point, Home Depot and Walmart, just because we've gotten the systems down with them so efficiently. But we've tested other ones. We've had success with them. But we just found it's more streamlined when we go all in with one or two. But if we had to change what those two were, we could do that. Yeah, and I've done that before. I used to use Lowe's a lot. It was one of my primary sources, and it didn't become worth it after a while. So we pivoted and used Walmart after that.
Gotcha. Okay, here's one relevant for the times. How can you ethically drop ship essential items? And at what point does it become price gouging?
All right. So is this like specific to like COVID-19?
Yes.
Okay. So,
well,
yeah,
people are throwing that term out there a lot now, even in the book world. Like people are like, you're price gouging that book. It's like, no, you don't need that. No. So I guess we could broaden this to just period, essential items, period.
I think outside of like a situation like this, it's kind of hard to price gouge, even if you wanted to, because the market, no one would buy from you, right? It's just basic economics. There's not a great need for it. Now, if you have something like a rare book, for instance, we're not going to really get that with drop shipping. But in your case, that's not price gouging. It's a rare book. I mean, it's limited. It's supply and demand. Very low supply, very high demand.
That's the problem with the whole price gouging thing, is because it's still supply and demand.
Right.
Like it's still the natural cycle, but
right. But it's a matter of why is that demand there? In the case of a rare book, it's because no one thought to keep it in good condition when it was originally published. In the case of toilet paper right now, it's because everyone's freaking out and buying up all the toilet paper, and people are scared. Like it's a fear-based demand, right? Whereas with yours, the book, it's more like a desire demand. So when it's fear-based demand, that's when the government's coming in and saying, like, this is like, we don't want people to be taking advantage of that fear. So that's why they make these price gouging laws. Can you ethically drop ship them? Absolutely, you can. So for those items, I think if you were selling them at one point before they became in high demand, you should sell them for pretty much the same price. I mean, that's the way you can do it. But the other thing to consider is that there are so many items you can sell right now that it wouldn't be considered price gouging. So like so many people are stuck at home. We are seeing a huge surge in sales overall, but in specific categories. Things like anything related to building a home office, webcams, desks, chairs, computer monitors, computer stands, anything related to helping kids stay entertained, crayons, puzzles, board games, card games, exercise equipment, anything so that people can work out at home. All these things are selling like crazy right now. And it's not price gouging because it's not something people aren't buying them out of fear. They're buying them out of a need. And there's a high need for them right now. So that gets more towards that basic economics.
So do you think with those, the last items you mentioned, is it still a problem?
No, I don't think
racking up the price.
No, because I think if people like, if they really want a certain, like, let's say it's a game, that board game, right? If they see it priced crazy high on like eBay, they're going to say, I'm not going to pay that. I don't need that, right? It's different than something like face masks, which people are like, oh my gosh, I need the face masks. I'm willing to pay like $100 for one kind of thing.
Yeah. Raiken just ordered some face mask.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From like Etsy or something?
I don't know where he ordered them. He only could buy like 50 at once though.
Oh, so they're like the medical grade ones?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's getting like the legit stuff. We got an email from our apartment building and they were saying they were giving us instructions on how to make our own face mask.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I didn't read them, but it'd be interesting to see what they're saying. I've been staying in.
Yeah.
I read something about how, I don't know if it was a Black Plague, but King Henry, I don't even know who King Henry is, but he just sounds cool. King Henry stayed inside during the whole duration of whatever pandemic was around. And I don't know if it was a Black Plague or what. The Black Plague just sounds crazy. Like coronavirus does not sound nearly as crazy as Black Plague. I don't know like the differences in symptoms between the two, but if people are coining this, people are talking about how fearful it is now, like how fearful the media is making everybody. Imagine if this shit was called the Black Plague. Like,
yeah.
But
I wonder what qualifies something as a plague. You know what I mean? Yeah. Definition. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if it was always called that. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask for you to finish what your story.
Oh yeah. He didn't leave his house the whole duration. I don't know how long it was. I don't know if it was a year, 3 months, or what. But I kind of get off on that idea, like just staying home, just grinding, just focusing. Like I'm making my course now, and I'm learning the dark arts of marketing. And I guess I've always thought this way, but I've never thought this way like directly. I've never directly thought, how do I build my credibility on like a sales page from people who have never seen me before? How do I convince them that I'm legit? And so it's strengthening a new muscle of mine. But I could write out like 300 hours of things for me to do right now. Like even just in my book business, I could just come up with all these different ways to scale. So when people are like, I'm bored, I don't think I've been bored for like 7 years probably.
Yeah.
Because with the internet, there's no excuse. You can always learn. There's procrastination. That's different.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, like I've been trying to take like a day off a week. And I find myself getting really bored those days.
Really? Do you get burned out though? Why are you wanting to take a day off? Okay.
Yeah. I get burnt out. Yeah. I'm a little burnt out. Like
that's
it's
probably why
right now. And it's like,
but
it's also because I take on like big projects and give myself like really false urgent deadlines for them. Like we just put together this whole summit in like a week. So we're kind of burnt out from that, but but it's also,
you say does your partner help you with that?
Yeah. Chad's helping a lot with it. So we're doing it together. It's not helping with it. We're doing it together. So.
Gotcha. How do you structure your days for maximum productivity?
I use a journal. Like a planner. So there are a lot of them that I like that you can buy on Amazon that have like So basically what it does is they're like 90-day planners. So you plan out like what you want to accomplish for the next 90 days. And I really like the 90-day cycles because you can get like some like 2 or 3 serious projects done in 90 days, but it's not so long that you end up procrastinating. So it creates that deadline. So then from the 90-day plan, the journal helps you break it down to monthly goals and then weekly goals. And then every week you break down your weekly goals into daily goals. And so that helps a lot. Those 90-day planners, I ran out. So now I just have a blank notebook, but I know the whole process, so it works. And in there, every day I write out what I have to do and I write just like a long to-do list, right? And then next to everything, I'll put a star next to things that like absolutely the highest priority will move my business forward. And then I'll put an exclamation point next to anything that, yeah, I got to get this done. It might not be the most important thing, but I got to get it done. And I'll put like this squiggly line next to anything that's like, if I have time, I'll get this done.
These are for your daily?
Yeah, for my daily
okay.
goals. So that way, the starred things, like I get done first, and then I go for the exclamation points. And if I have time, I go for the squiggly line ones. That just makes me stay focused on like the most important stuff to do. And that helps. I mean, I love my journal. Like it helps a lot. So
I see that you on one of your stories, you posted, I don't know what you called it, like a crap day or something. You schedule everything for one day where you just bang out all the crappy activities. You want to explain that a little bit? That was super interesting to me.
Yeah. So I don't do this all the time. It's not like I do this once a week or once every 2 weeks, but like if I have like, no, actually, I do it once a month because like for a business, there's always like these things you have to do. Like I have to check all my credit card statements. I have to get everything into like QuickBooks. I need to pay my virtual assistants. I need to pay my affiliates. I need to ask the products that I'm affiliates for all that stuff. And it's like important stuff, but it doesn't move the needle forward. And it's just one of those things that like makes me roll my eyes to have to do. So instead of doing it like throughout the month, I pretty much do it on like the 3rd or 4th of every month, or one of the first days of the month. Just get all that done with. And I also save up for those days anything else that I just like was putting off because I didn't want to do, but has to get done.
Where do you collect all these thoughts?
So those like most of the stuff I mentioned, I just know to do that every month. But the more like unusual things, I have a reminder app on my phone. Actually, I'm pretty sure Apple comes with one. It's called Reminders. But I like this one. It's called it's like a to-do list. There's like a to-do list on your phone. And I'll just put it in there, but then schedule it for like the
Is
3rd.
It done? The Done app?
No, not that one. It's called Tick Tick. This one.
Okay.
Or Tick Tick. And so I'll just add it and say, this is schedule it for like April 3rd or May 3rd. On May 3rd, I'll come in here because I check this every day for things I might have added in the past. And that will show me, okay, there are a bunch of stuff you have been putting off and now it's time to do it. Yeah.
Getting some people in here. We got Baron Von Deals. He's saying, Romer, you talking on a lag? Seems like max headroom. Interesting. He said that. Said that 40 minutes ago. What is max headroom?
I have no idea.
Because someone else said, agreed, max is a good representation. Okay, this is we got a dropshipping question coming in. How difficult is it to track your inventory levels?
Really easy because we use software that does it automatically. So we use software that if we find the item on Walmart, we plug that Walmart URL into the software and it will list the item onto eBay for us automatically. And then if the price changes on Walmart, it will change the price on eBay automatically. So it's
nice.
Easy, does it? And stock too. If it goes out of stock on Walmart, it goes out of stock on eBay.
Is there like one software that does that, or are there competing softwares?
Yeah, there's a lot of competing softwares, but I like one of them. It's called AutoDS. I've tried a lot of them. That's my favorite. So
He's also asking, how do you protect yourself from a surprise supplier out of stock? So I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, the software will protect you.
Will you be talking about DSM tool? How to guide?
So DSM tool is one of the competitors to AutoDS. I've used it in the past. I think it's fine. I just like AutoDS better. It has some important features that DSM tool is lacking. So I like that one, AutoDS.
Andrew's also saying, I saw you on Raiken's video. You encouraged me to set up my eBay PayPal back up, looking for the next step. Feel like credit cards and the DSM tool is going to be my next option.
Get some good cashback credit cards, but use AutoDS.
I've heard that some dropshippers just make all their money off rewards points.
Some of them I think do. So like if you're dropshipping from Amazon to eBay, we see that a lot. I don't really use Amazon anymore to dropship from, but I think because Amazon gives you a 5% back credit card. That's through Chase and one through American Express. So I mean, like 5% can really add up. But I don't think they make just from that, because you'd have to sell like 6 figures a month just to make $5,000. I mean, not just $5,000. $5,000's a lot, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, those bonus points, that's huge. I mean, that could really, I mean, that adds, regardless of what your actual margin is, that adds $5,000 to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Listening from Seattle, cleaning shoes. Appreciate you. Romer, just hire Paul to get you out of a legal jam. Could you? I guess I could do that, right? Because you can have anyone represent you, right? Like I could have Raiken represent me if I wanted to. Is it like that? It's like that because you can run for president if you're anybody, right? You can just like write someone's name in.
It's not the same. It's easier to become a president than a lawyer, I feel like.
Okay. I feel like most lawyers I've met are smarter than presidents that I've seen. Resources are finite. Human desires are infinite. Dropshipping is prohibited on eBay and especially Amazon. And I've heard of people getting banned on both platforms from dropshipping both of them. How do you advise people avoid that from happening to them?
Okay, so in the terms of service, it does say that, but it's like not enforced as long as you're following the rest of the rules and providing good customer service. So like, for instance, on eBay, they pretty much just want to make sure that you're doing a good job. And if you're using the right software, it's another reason I like AutoDS. They like the way that AutoDS works. Some of the other software, they use what's called eBay's API. And eBay doesn't really like when you use their API to reprice items like this software does. But AutoDS uses another way to do it. And we've seen that since using that, they haven't had an issue with it. And same thing with Amazon. They just want to make sure you're doing a good job. I mean, dropshippers get like a bad reputation, but if you can prove otherwise, they're happy to have you sell on there. I mean, eBay, they know we're dropshipping. They know I'm dropshipping because I've told them, and they've told me they know that, and they haven't shut me down for that. So I think that more than anything speaks to it.
Gotcha. So you post a lot on social media. You have a YouTube channel. When did you start posting? Who motivated you to start? And what was your end goal initially?
Oh, okay. So I started in 2017 on YouTube. And it's pretty much because I was in a forum that was all dropshippers. So specifically this type of eBay dropshipping. And I started to do really well. And people had a lot of questions. I was answering questions in there. But I got to a point where I couldn't write out the answer. So I just recorded a video on YouTube. That was like the first video. I don't think it's up anymore because it's really terrible quality. And so I made like a couple of those. And then, I don't know, like I started to do really well. And I started to think to myself, like, what else? And I really liked this guy. His name was Johnny FD. And he always made videos and blog posts about his dropshipping success. He was doing Shopify dropshipping. And I was like, that seems cool. So I want to start doing that. So like November 2017, I started to do that, started post more regularly. And then that was kind of it. And then in like January, I was just like searching around YouTube, trying to figure out YouTube more, see who's doing well. And I see Raiken Profit. And I was like, whoa, I know this guy. So like Steve and I, we went to this in 2015. We both went to this, it's called the Woodstock Fruit Festival during the summer. It's like a week during the summer. You go up near Woodstock, New York. All you eat for the week is fruit. And it's basically like a bunch of hippies running around like in the woods. Like that's what it was basically like. We connected there. He was on YouTube then. I probably had maybe like, I don't know, he might know better, but like 30,000. You got to check like Social Blade. You have like 30 or 40,000 YouTube subscribers. And he was doing Craig's. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was doing like YouTube.
Everyone listening, he's got like 140,000 now, I think.
Yeah. And he was doing Craigslist and Amazon. He was telling me about what he was doing. And I was just kind of like, it was so out there for me. I couldn't comprehend it. And in my head, like, I feel terrible for this now. But I've told him this and we've laughed about it. I said to him, like, in the back of my head, I was like, oh, this poor guy, he's never going to make it in the world. Fast forward and I see like his success. And I was like, damn. So he's one of those people that like ruthlessly believes in himself. Because he knows he could be successful with it, and he has been. So he's definitely been a huge motivation, inspiration to me as well.
And what did you see? Like, at what point did you like? Okay, so his numbers went up, but at what point were you like convinced? Like, what was it? Was it like affiliate income? Was it like the community he was building?
Steve?
Yes, like or whoever really influenced you to like really go hard in it. Like what made you like? Was it selling a course? Like what'd you look at and you're like, okay, like I can see a future with this?
Well, at first when it came to that guy Johnny FD, I just like that he's like such a genuine, like cool guy, and he just like puts himself out there. It looks like he's always having fun and sharing it, and like that's what motivated me. But it, what he was saying, what everyone was saying was that like if you do this, like start a YouTube channel or a personal brand, and it's more like a hobby, it's something like fun, it's not going to be sustainable because you got to make money with it. And I liked that he was making money with it. I didn't see a path for myself. I was like, I don't know where this is going, but I'm having fun. I'm enjoying sharing it. I'm connecting with people and I'm learning more about dropshipping as I'm doing it, which is helping my dropshipping business. So yeah, I mean, he was obviously being successful with it. And when I reconnected with Steve, I saw that he was being successful with what he was doing. So yeah, it kind of made sense.
Gotcha. You broke up at that last part. But I think I basically got the gist of what you're saying. When it comes to making a YouTube video, obviously you want to put the best content out there. But when it comes to like almost like the marketing side of the video, aside from like the thumbnails, but just like the formatting of the video, because you're really marketing yourself throughout the video. Because even right now, we're convincing people to listen. The questions I'm asking, the way you're talking, the content that we're spitting, it's going to convince the people to listen to the rest of this. Were there any like? Did you watch like those? Because for anyone else who does YouTube, they have those videos in YouTube Studio, or it's like how to build your channel. Did you really consume that content and take it to heart? And if so, what methods did you really implement that you saw increased your watch time or just how the video performed over the lifetime?
I didn't watch a lot of those videos. Oh, so the only videos I really watched that I can remember were like, I'll say this. I watched a lot of videos. I know that, but I found myself not really feeling like it was easy to apply or it really like made sense to to spend the time to apply. It's just like so much work, it seemed like. So the videos that really stand out to me are the ones that like how to structure a video. Like they teach you like in the beginning, you need a hook to get them excited.
Yes.
And then like a little teaser and then the content and then a close. So I remember that. But there's one sort of mentor, so to speak, that I had that he said that like, look, in order for people to subscribe to you, in order for people to watch your videos or buy your programs, you need them to know you, like you, and trust you. And they get to know you by you making like pretty much any video, they'll get to know you. And they trust you when you show them results or student results. But it's the middle part, it's the liking part that most people forget about. And so I just thought, okay, I'm just going to concentrate on getting people to know, like, and trust me. And I'm just going to produce content with this like hook method, hook people in and give them good content, valuable content for free, and then close at the end. And that more than anything just is what did it. Like all these different tricks and stuff, it just seemed like when I was trying them, it just like didn't work as well as just making consistent quality content. Just being yourself so people can understand who you are and like you for who you are.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to get better at the whole marketing thing. And something I'm realizing is part of the whole value that you're giving someone, part of that, it's not just me or you saying the right things, saying the things that if they take action will work. I'm realizing that being a teacher online and an influencer, you have to influence them into action. You have to get them to actually take action. And to get them to take action, you have to look at the way you're talking. And ironically, I've been doing voice warm-ups every morning, and you said you were a singer.
Yeah.
So do you know who Roger Love is?
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay. He's like the world's renowned voice coach, at least from what I've found on YouTube and Google and other places. He's coached Tony Robbins. He's coached, I think, Michael Jackson, like huge names out there. But anyway, he talks about how speaking is just like singing, how you want to hit all the different notes. Like you want to go up and you want to go down. And so I've been working on that because it's not just me saying the right things and getting someone to take action. It's me driving them into action. So maybe that's why your videos do well, because you have good tonality. You're good natural. Like you have an ear for, like, I got to hit him with the A flat when I close. I got to hit the. But
well, yeah, it's weird because I often think like, how did I end up being a dropshipper or a YouTuber? But when I look at like the whole trajectory of my life, like it almost seems like inevitable. I mean, I went to music school, so I was on stage, I was in front of people. So I'm not afraid of public speaking or being in front of camera. And then I went to law school where you have to be really articulate. You have to make cases for judges.
yes.
So public speaking has not been a hurdle I had to overcome.
How often do you public speak much at different places? Do you get invited to give talks?
No, not really. I mean, everything's pretty much digital. So.
Gotcha.
But I mean, there's like sometimes if I'm live, I'm looking through the lens. There's sometimes 200 people there.
Yeah, more than that. Sometimes I've seen your best video has gotten like over 100,000 views. It's 100,000 people. Would you be nervous if you had to stand up and talk in front of 100,000 people?
Probably. I don't know, actually. I mean, I've sung in front of people. I mean, that's like, I feel like that's like, you're really exposing yourself when you're singing.
Yeah.
But not groups that large. I don't think I've been in front of even, I think at graduation, maybe it was probably the biggest crowd. That's a pretty big crowd. And I gave a speech during my law school graduation.
What does scare you? Is there something out there, kind of like an irrational fear or
irrational?
I mean, all fear is kind of irrational. Like swimming in the ocean with sharks, that's pretty rational. Is there something that a fear that you wish you could overcome?
I mean, I don't know if this is exactly a fear, but I always have trouble like emotionally like opening up to people. So it's not a fear, but it's just like when you said like something like, do you wish there was something you could overcome? that's something that has always been hard for me. Opening up emotionally to people, and being vulnerable in that way. Yeah, I think like one of my other, I know it's not answering your question, but since it's coming up, I think like another big flaw of mine is that it's really hard for me to be wrong. And not like this comes up more in like relationships, like with my husband. Like I just want to always do a good job. That's what it comes down to. I always want to do a good job. So when I mess up, I feel so bad about it sometimes that I like try to cover it up and like say like, no, I didn't like mess up. Like I did it right. You know what I mean? So like that's a big, I'm working on it and I think I'm getting better at it, but I know it doesn't answer your question, but
yeah, that's it's probably what's made you so successful. Just being an attorney and even in business is having that perfectionist mentality.
Yeah.
I'm not fully convinced on this, but I studied psychology and I still study a ton of psychology. And there's something called facial reading. You look at people's faces and you can read how they think, how they've thought, and what they think changes the way their face looks over time. Which if I think on the surface, it sounds like some chakra bullshit that you'd hear, like, oh, like if they have a freckle here, it means this. But like after learning about it, I don't know if it's my reticular activation system, which is like your system for like looking for certain things. Like if I tell you to look for black right now, you're going to see this black couch. You're going to see this. And if I told you to close your eyes and look for something white, or I guess the wall's white, but if I told you to look for something red, you'd be like, oh shit, like, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to see it. So my reticular activation system is looking for those things. What was I just talking about? I just veered off.
Oh, like facial.
Oh yeah, facial reading. Yeah. So I don't know if this is like a direct, like if it's because I learned a little bit of facial reading and now like I just think this way, or if it's actually real. But one thing I learned is if your eyebrows go up like this and then they go back down, it means that you think, like if the actual eyebrow itself, just one eyebrow, not like going up and down moving, but if you think it goes up, that means you come to the conclusion and then you take action on it. That's when it goes back down. And Raiken, I actually haven't talked to him about this yet, but his eyebrows do that. One of his eyebrows, I think his right eyebrow goes up and down really sharp. So it means that he thinks a long time, but then once it happens, once he comes to a conclusion, boom, he takes action. But it takes them a while to come to that conclusion. And with lawyers, they say that right in between your eyebrows, you have a hard part. And I can't help but notice, like when you think, you have a very hard part there. And I've noticed it with very successful business people. They always have that, like not always, but most of the time, it's pretty crazy. Like if you start looking for it, you'll see it in a lot of people. And I'm just like, I wonder if it's true or not. And if you look at Gary Vee, if you look at him, have you seen pictures of him like 20 years ago?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a baby.
Yeah, he looks like way better now. Like he's aged well. Yeah. And who knows if it's true or not that your thoughts and who you are changes your face. I think it's true because it kind of just makes sense. Like you can see someone and the gut feelings we get about people, we judge them and we're like, oh, they like, and a lot of times we're right. We'll look at someone and we'll think they act a certain way. Or like, oh, I don't trust him, or like without even having them open their mouth or act at all. We'll just look at them and we'll just know. And I think there is some truth to it. So I don't really know what my point was with that, but I just wanted to let you know that you have very nice, prominent part there. It means you make good. It means you think about stuff. You make good business decisions. I'm envious. I'm working on it. 20 years down the road, catch me. I'm going to chop this piece of content up and put it 20 years down the road. I'm going to have the super hard part. It's just going to be huge. Let's see who else we got in here. Oh, this guy's talking about the max headroom. It's a glitchy 80s. Oh, I think his laptop just died, which that was ironic because I was just talking about the glitchy 80s show that John was making fun of me because at the beginning he said I was being glitchy. Let's see if Paul comes back. I'll give him a second to charge his laptop. In the meantime, I'll read your comments. Keep throwing these questions in here, guys. We're going to hit every single one if we can, if Paul comes back. Okay, here's a good question. I can answer this. Raymond says, can you please tell me where I can access the course? You can access it in the course link is in the description, so you can check that out. It's, I trust this guy. Guys, you've seen he's very articulate. He knows what he's doing. Romer, you're very blurred. Yes. I don't know why. I don't know why my camera's so blurry. I'll try and clean this off real quick. I think it's got like a smudge on the camera. Do I look better? I've been clearer before. I think I look a little bit clearer. Keep the questions coming. Raiken wants Paul to sing. I should have asked him to sing. I'll open up some Q&A for myself. Obviously, I can't give any answers to dropshipping questions, which is the title of this video. But if you guys have questions about selling books on Amazon, if you guys have questions about my life, if you guys have questions about living in a Toyota Corolla, if you guys have questions about my course that I'm about to drop, what kind of content is going to be covered in it, if you guys have questions about salsa dancing, whatever questions you guys have, fire away. I'm here for you. We're going to give Paul, we'll give him 5 more minutes. What is it do I have any college kids in here? And what's the rule when you're in college? You give the professor 15 minutes to get back. We're gonna give Paul till 8:30. If Paul's not back in here at 8:30, we will move on. Big moment right there. Tim's son coming in here. Does Paul do Shopify dropshipping? I think eBay is his main sales platform. Insane Book Hustle, what's up? I know micro expressions. What is the long-term face change effect called? It's called what I was just talking about is called facial reading, and the theory behind facial reading is that your face changes over time. And I really do think this is true. It's kind of obvious. It's what if you smile all the time? You're gonna have smile marks. What if you're always really stressed out? And I don't know what a stressed out look is. Like, you might have more wrinkles up here or some shit. The only things I learned about facial reading is the 3 things I learned. 1, if your eyebrow goes up, so if it goes up like that and then back down, I could bring Raiken out here and show you. He's got a very prominent up and down motion, but it's going to go up and then back down. That means you think a lot about your decisions before you make them, but once you make them, you take action. You don't turn back. The next one is what I called out on Paul, is right here. I see a lot of business people that have a very hard part here. So right here, there's a line, a crease. I don't really have a super strong one. I have more of like a line going horizontal, but it's a vertical line here. And the other one is if you look at people's lips down here, see that crack there? Almost everyone has it. There's a split in my bottom lip. I think it's just the way our anatomy is. That's where a split occurs. But the bigger the split is, apparently, the funnier you are, the bigger sense of humor you have. So those are the 3 things that I learned. But just look at people's face. Like, you can just go on Facebook and type in like Joe and look at all the different Joes. And which Joes would you do business with and which Joes would you not do business with? We judge people all the time. I think there's some validity to facial reading. So you guys have no questions for me. It's just John Doe asking all these questions. Who the hell is John Doe? Show yourself. That wrinkle between my eyes deepens when I sing. Paul, probably the same, right? Paul is not with us any longer. Paul is gone from this podcast. This is a strange podcast. Just me now. Let's get some questions in here. For those of you that are listening, and for those of you, big shout out to all the people that are still listening. And the year is 2025, and this video is still up on YouTube, and you still listen to this part of the podcast. Big shout out to those people. Those are my true fans right there. Obviously, shout out to the 9 people that are in here as well. If you guys did not know, I have a service for all the resellers out there called restrictedinventory.com. I will sell your textbooks on Amazon, popular textbooks on Amazon at a 50-50 split net profits. That also includes restricted items such as CDs and DVDs. Restrictedinventory.com, baby.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking well show.
Keep the questions coming. Let's get a little conversation going here. It is quarantine time. So for those of you that are watching this in 2025, once upon a time, we were forced to be quarantined because there was a pandemic. Sounds fucking crazy. There was a pandemic and we couldn't leave. You shouldn't leave the house. I have not been leaving the house. My roommate Raiken Profit's been going out a little bit, but for 30 days we're on lockdown, and we have been on lockdown basically for the previous 30 days to this. So for 60 days we're not leaving the house, and who knows how long this is going to last. So if you're watching this in 2025, you already know how the events panned out. Maybe everybody's screwed. Maybe half the world died, or maybe we all overreacted, or maybe it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. Who knows? All I know is I've been inside for the last 30 days grinding. And for those of you that want to know what I've been doing, I've been working. I've been working on the dark arts of marketing. I've been building my business. I've been working on the systems within my business, but I've also just been working on marketing. I've been figuring out what makes people think, because you gotta realize business, and this is the beauty of selling on Amazon. You don't have to do this shit on Amazon. But when you're marketing a course or your service or a product that you make, you have to convince people that you are credible, or your product or your service is credible. And I've had to do this with restrictedinventory.com. Arguably, I've had to do this with Roamer the Roamer, my brand here on YouTube and Instagram. But now I'm really having to do it because I have a sales page for my course, the Book Business Blueprint. And I have to convince people when they go to that course that I'm credible. So what have I been doing? There's something called social proof. Now, 95% of my audience here on YouTube is men. So this will probably resonate with a lot of you guys, even though most of you are between the ages of 25 and 35. I feel like most of you guys are single. How many single guys do I have listening right now? Because marketing has a lot of similarities with getting women. Almost everything. You could read marketing books and they're probably better than like game theory YouTube videos, theories on how to pick up women. The marketing books, they have it down, and there's something in marketing called social proof. So you want to prove to people that you are credible. That if other people think you're credible, then you're credible. You're more likely to be trustworthy. I mean, think about this shit. Think about this. If you look at two restaurants, you're hungry as shit. There's two restaurants. There's one on one corner and one on the other corner. You see the parking lot of both. One has one car in it, and the other has 15. Which place are you going to? You're going to the place with 15. This is also called the Matthew principle. Matthew principle shows up all the time, whether in business, life, women, whatever it is. The Matthew principle says that when the successful people get more success, and the people who fail just get more failure. So the successful people, they get more success as time goes on. If you build a successful business, more people want to do deals with you. More clients want to buy from you. And for those people that fail, they don't move on. They just keep failing. That's why it's important to get your successes early on. I think that's one of the biggest parts of being successful in business. And that's why with the 7-day challenge, it's a challenge where I take people and I help them make their first $1,000 selling on Amazon. I help them actually make $1,000 on Amazon for the first time. What we do is I have them reach success, which they've never had in business before. This is geared towards people who have never made a penny doing anything entrepreneurial. I have them get the books, no bullshit, like go out, source the books. Don't think about this. Don't consume 80 YouTube videos. Just go out and find the damn books. List the books on Amazon. Sell the books. Get paid. Once you get paid, the cycle is complete. The cycle is complete from you getting the book to you listing it on Amazon to you getting paid. What does that do? What does that do to your brain? It tells yourself that you did something and it worked. You know now that in the future, you can do something and it can work even better. You can keep doing, you know that your actions now in this world, you can go out and take action and make money by not having a job, by doing something entrepreneurial. And I feel like a lot of people, they go out and they do a lot of action. They try and start a business and they make their own t-shirts and they watch a marketing video and they do all this crazy shit and they don't get any money back in their pocket and they think it's all fake. It doesn't work. And then they get hit with one of my ads on Instagram because I'm gonna be running ads pretty soon. It's pretty crazy. I'm gonna be running ads pretty soon where I'm like, hey, do you want to make your first 1,000 selling on Amazon? And they think that I'm full of shit because every entrepreneurial experience they've had in their life did not work for them because they went out, they took action, but they never got rewarded for it. So completing that cycle, that's the most important thing you can do. Showing yourself it's real, no matter what you do. Any skill, but especially in business. The problem with skills versus business is we look at people who have skills. We look at people who are really good dancers. We look at people who are really good chefs, whatever, and we're like, oh, they have a skill. They were able, to work for that. And I think we look at them and we're like, oh, we could do that too. Because a lot of times the skills that we learn, we're in high school. We learn how to play a sport. We learn how to wrestle. You learn how to do something, even like grades. You learn how to get good grades. You see all your classmates, all your everyone else, teammates, wrestling. You see everybody else succeeding. What happens when a wrestling team has a state champion? There's more state champions. There's more people that make it to the finals as years go on because you've seen that it's possible. I think with business, the problem with business is people don't have that many successful business relatives in their family. They heard about how Uncle Joe tried starting his own business and it failed. Their parents don't run businesses, and if their parents are so smart and their parents raised them, then why aren't they running businesses themselves? If their parents were most people respect their parents as being smart. If they're so smart and they can't even run a business, how could they? It's these little issues that people have, and it's overcoming those. Overcoming those by having an action, going out, doing something, whether it's drop shipping, whether it's selling a book on Amazon. You first doing the action, but actually completing that loop by putting money back in your pocket, baby. All right. Jacordy's saying single can't mingle. That's right. Oh, so I got a Mexican in here watching. We're locked down here in Mexico also. What part of Mexico are you from? Don't you have to get ungated first? Ungated for... Not sure what you're talking about, Jordan. All right, guys. It is 8:34. We gave him 12 minutes, and he is not back here. Paul, I appreciate you for coming on. Much love. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. If you guys are interested in learning more about drop shipping, his course is in the description below. Much love, guys. Peace out.